Our Director, Secondary School Education, Mr. Paul Kibet. Our Deputy Regional Director of Education, Nairobi County, Mr. Nyagaka. And our Quality Assurance and Standards Officer, Madam Susan Onyango, all protocol observed. I'm very happy and glad to invite our chair to this particular platform to take us through the rest of the program and invite our CS representative today. But sir, we are very happy that you have come. You are in charge of secondary school education, and we know that our curriculum, as we were told, was domiciled in secondary school, so you are in the right place. Feel at home. We have more than about 600 directors from the 47 counties of this great country, Kenya, who have come to listen to you. They're very anxious, they're very cooperative. They'd like to hear a word from you, so that as they leave from this place, they go and organize their institutions in the way that you will have directed this particular day. Karibu sana, Ministry of Education. We're very proud and happy to have you. Before I sit, I would say asante sana, Mr. Kibet. It's for the first time that we had our secondary schools put in the NEC portal, and they all passed through your office. So we are very happy. You can hear these claps. That is one thing you'll go home with. In the event that you gracefully retire, you remember there is a milestone and you made history. For the last 25 years that the association has been in existence, we have fought, we have lobbied to have our schools enlisted with the Kenya National Examination Council, so that the girls, we can have a fair chance of being selected, so that our secondary school can get the public child who's both in private and public schools in primary. That is history in the making, and you made it. We are very proud of you. The name Mr. Kibet will never be forgotten in Kenya Private School Association. Asante, Mr. Chair. Karibu sana.
To the Director of Secondary Education, Mr. Paul Kibet. Deputy Regional Director, Mr. Hesbon Nyagaya. And the Quality Assurance, Susan Onyango, all from the Ministry of Education, fellow directors, how are you? It's my pleasure this time to welcome the people from the ministry to talk with us, or to talk to us. After yesterday, around 5, we talked with the CS team and he was coming. But the CS works under his boss. And you all know his boss, so big a name I can't mention here. He has to join the president on a function that is around us here. So he's not here. And the PS also has to go to some matter in court. Those were the briefings I was given, and therefore they are not here not because they refuse to honor our invite, but because of circumstances that forced them not to be here. But I want to assure you we have a very good working relationship with them, and most of the things that Mr. Kibet cannot address, when we meet with him, we will address together. So when you leave here, know that your interests will still be addressed. The CS might not be here, but he's amiable, he's welcoming, his office is open to us, and the things that we have told you will pass over to him, and I'm sure he'll work on them. Now, with those remarks, just as the Consec has said, Mr. Paul Kibet is a gentleman, par excellence. Because when we were doing registration, I would bombard him in his office many times, and his secretaries, and say, now, why are these things not with the name? So they, are they there? I said, yeah, they have not gone. And this guy is good. Together with Dr. Jekere, And then now Munene was camping there. I'm sure Munene harassed you so much. I apologize if you did that. But we wanted to serve our members. And that was the reason you were all put in that photo for those who are on JSS. So the person who did that is the one they have sent us here. And it's none other than Mr. Paul Kpsa, Director, Secondary School Education. And the secondary schools, you have been crying. The person who holds the ministry's docket, you know, PSS and CSS come and go. But Kpsa is there permanently and knows what ails you. And now that he's here today, Mkubwa, mimi naomba tu mambo moja. Assure me that the things that were put in those portals were not just dummies. That you will work on them and our secondary schools will get students. Because that, I'm sure that one you can do something about. And if you cannot, you send me to your best, I will humbly go to him and say, Mr. Kpsa's hands are tied here. Please, Pana CS, Pana PS, these teachers have invested and they need students. And number two, I want to request you humbly, we don't demand Pana Kpsa, we request. And remember, it's a request that those directors that have gone ahead and put up standalone JSS, junior secondary schools, they are not in primary. What is going to happen to them? Maybe you can say something that if you cannot, you can still send me to the CSLPS, we'll always go. But if you can say something, we'll be glad to hear. With those few remarks, I don't want to go into many things. Please come and address my directors, and God bless you.
Thank you, Chair, and officials from Kenya Private Schools Association. I would like to greet all of you, say good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Or is it morning? This afternoon. Okay. Thank you so much for the comments, Chair, and your teams from across the country. And I want to first thank all of you for the good work that you are doing in provision of education, in partnering with the government. The Ministry of Education has said to provide education to our learners. There are a few things that have been asked to say. Some of them I will say pass. So the ones that I'm able to deal with or handle, I will say let me attempt to answer. The one of domiciling of JSS in primary, after some schools putting up standalone JSS, I've been informed that is a hot discussion amongst you. But I want to clarify something, that domiciling JSS in primary does not remove the curriculum from secondary. So in other words, even with a standalone JSS classroom that have been put up, you will continue to operate. I think that is just a clarification. And therefore, those who did that heavy investment should not imagine that it's going to waste. It's not going to waste because you still have students. I think that is the one that I would say I can attempt to answer. The other one of selection, that one I cannot attempt to answer. That is part of my paycheck. So I will leave it at that. And thank you for the good comments that you've answered. I didn't know that the little things that we are doing were meaning or was significant to you. I did not know that for the last 24 years, the private schools have not had an opportunity to appear in the NEC portal. And we are glad that we're able to do or make that difference. And we will continue to do the same as long as we are given instructions the way we were given in this. I hope all the schools that applied were captured by NEC, and if they were not, we are willing, if there are any that were outstanding, we are willing to have them also captured, so that in the next round, all of you are appearing in the NEC portal. The issues of selection of Form 1 is a policy issue that we may not be able to exhaust it here. So, ladies and gentlemen, directors, the people that we hardly see when we come to school, because we only see the head teachers and the principals when we come to our schools, and somehow we know that there's somebody at the back room who is causing things to happen. So I'm privileged to meet the people that are the drivers of our private sector in terms of provision of education. And I always say that we do not have a private child. You only have a child who has gone to a private school. All children belong to the Ministry of Education, and that's why even you are the signboard to your schools, you have first Ministry of Education, and then you have the name of that school. So you are playing a significant role that we will not want to downgrade. So you are very important, and it's a pleasure to have the interaction that we are having, and appreciate the good work that you are doing. I know you, if we were to know, I mean, if we were to ask each one of you to tell us how much you have been, you have invested in, I think it's going to speak a lot about your commitment to this nation. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to bring the message from the Cabinet Secretary. I'll read the speech and sit down thereafter. I think I've made my comments, and thank you so much for your welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So the Chair, Kenya Private Schools Association, the officials, the other senior officials from the Ministry of Education, distinguished guests, members of Kpsa, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to join you at this occasion today. This indeed is yet another confirmation of the respect and trust that the government has for private schools under your umbrella body, Kenya Private Schools Association. Kpsa has continued to be a valuable partner in education in Kenya, as we are highly indebted to the private schools for their immense contribution to the growth and the development of the education sector. Private schools play a vital role in complementing the government's effort in provision of basic education and training in Kenya, especially in the success of pre-primary education and the 100% transition from primary to secondary. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 brought about a major reforms in the education sector. Key among them is the big entitlement of free and compulsory education to every child in Kenya. Education is for that reason a right of every person, as enshrined in Article 43 of the Constitution of Kenya. Cognizant to the fact that the right to education for every child is a basic necessity and an entitlement, private schools have made tremendous investment and sacrifice to bridge the accessibility gaps in education. There are about 10,500 private primary schools in Kenya, with an enrollment of 2.4 million, and about 1,600 private secondary schools with an enrollment of about 280,000 learners. In addition, the private education institutions play an important role in the national development through job creation and payment of taxes. I'm able to understand that the theme for your luncheon this year is overcoming barriers in education reforms and dynamics of transition to junior secondary school. I believe that the theme is in recognition to the fact that the world is fast changing. Sorry, let me take that one. I believe that the theme in recognition of the fact that the world is changing faster than ever before. The government has made a deliberate move to transform the 844 to competency-based curriculum. In doing so, our country is living to the recommended practice of regularly reviewing the curriculum to ensure that it responds to the global dynamics. We want to ensure that the private schools, directors, managers of our government, individual support in the realization of the 100% transition mark into junior secondary schools. We would like to ask the private schools to do their very best to retain the grade 6 pupils in their respective schools as they transit to grade 7, that is junior secondary schools. Of course, for those who have started a standalone junior secondary, we have been appropriately advised. As a government, we shall put all measures in place to ensure that all learners transit into junior secondary school. I would like to throw the challenge to you private schools owners to invest in junior secondary schools and at least retain your learners at the bare minimum. With good efforts that focus on the private sector, we can provide as a government the 10,000 classrooms for junior secondary school that were constructed this year. The Ministry of Education has keenly listened to you. We have had some discussions with your representatives and will continue having that. I'm made to understand that the major challenge in putting up a junior secondary school is the availability of funds to put up the infrastructure. We are also aware that you are having financial challenges, particularly when you are recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. But I would like to challenge you to put up more classrooms so that at least we have a classroom and a laboratory in your school to handle the junior secondary curriculum. The government is focused in sustaining the 100% transition policy to allow our learners to join grade 7 and Form 1 next year. So finally, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to wish you all well as you prepare to usher in the junior secondary school level in your schools next year. Thank you and God bless you.
Interpretation of the elephant. The elephant is a very powerful animal, big in stature, graceful, and you can see the trunk. When the trunk faces down, it means a blessing. When the trunk faces up, it means good luck. So we are giving blessings to our Honorable CS, Mr. Ezekiel Machogu Ombaki. We are giving this gift because Mr. Kibet has brought us a long way. 24 years we walked like these elephants, looking for listing in MEC. We may have been mighty, but you can see the humility in our faces because we missed the target all the time. But when you got into office, I said, good luck. When the trunk is on top, you brought us good luck. And then you live long, Mr. Kibet. Always remember this particular trunk, you brought us good luck, and we are forever going to be in the bottom. Oh, they're saying they're looking forward to the senior school listing.
A lion is the king of the jungle, and represents the animal family. And therefore, Mr. Nagaka, we are giving this to you in all humility, because you are a representative of the Ministry of Education, I think the most senior now, you are representing the Ministry of Education in this house today. Thank you so much. Madam Susan Manyango is a household name. She has worked with us in all the regions in matters of JSS. She has enlightened us even before the Ministry of Education would open doors for all of us. She was there for us, worked with us, encouraged many directors, and that's why we have so many of these directors who dared to venture in the junior secondary schools. And therefore, Madam Susan, we honor you, we treasure you as a mother, and kindly appreciate our token of appreciation.